Hello everyone, welcome back to a new episode of Esoteric Ebb. Last time we left off, I still need to find things. There's a few things I need. I need a 9th level spell to get into the Gate of Jor if I go Viskin's route. I can also just deal with Everglad, but I would really rather not do that. Otherwise, I can work with the Sphinx. Wait, I thought I tried to examine this before. Oh, all the crystals are glowing. Do you have to come here at a certain time? I could, because I've tried to examine this so many times. What is this? You approach the magic circle. Each of the 4 stones around it are glowing. This is the place. The goblin looks around. Looks clear, I think. Isk-Urum. It is broken. The seal is unleashed. Watch the light rapidly expand. Wait, what are they talking about? I've forgotten about this. I kind of remember this activation phase, but... Light rapidly expand? Snail! Snail person. Wait a second. It's a snail. Snail takes a few steps, more steps back. Hello up there? He then watches the snail folk of a bygone era slams into the ground. So cute! Stare at it. You watch the creature. Shake and snivel, its flabby skin moving about freely, its glistening surface reflecting the light. That staff. It holds immense power. Look at the shell. It's covered in trinkets, books, vials, and all manner of esotericals. There is no doubt. This is a wizard of the highest degree. Look at the staff. Gives off a faint glow in the dark of the temple. A Gate-era artifact. A magic staff befitting for a wizard such as yourself. Prepare to approach the strange snail. How did this even happen? I guess I had to come here at a certain time? Was this supposed to be like a clock? No, because that wouldn't make sense. If all 4 of them were lit up, that would mean it would be like midnight. I don't know. I don't know. Cause yeah, like I know I tried interacting with this multiple times. Hello. Behold, they shine. Snail lifts his head. Flop. Shake your head and gesture towards the ears. Inte forsta, no comprenda. No, I'm not doing that, excuse me. This is what the Tulin cattle sound like. Yalu. Snail holds up his open hand, 4 fingers stretch out, then he twists them with a snap. Here we go. That should be better. I always keep a tongue prepared for the specific situation. Nothing as awkward as dealing with foreign dignitaries when you run out of Jor's slots. I am Isk-Urum, Cord Puller of the Tulin Empire, Master of the Path, Servant of Jor, Lord Researcher, and Diplomat of Peace. He lowers his soft head all the way to the ground. I am Roggen. Greetings. By Jor, do not worry, Mr. Roggen Cleric. I am not poisonous, nor do I hold any ill will. I didn't ask if you were poisonous. Oh, interesting. Beware. He is reading your mind. Apologies, I cannot help it. The snail is inside you. Okay, lewd. It's not the kind of phrasing I'd use, but yes, yeah, that's not the kind of phrasing I would use either. Snail squints and stares at you both. Hold on. Is this some kind of wizard thing? Green one, you did not appear to be as loud on the strings as your iron friend here. Snail leans upon his staff. Not help but hear everything you think, Cleric. It was Cleric, was it not? It is. And greetings, Tulin. Ah, celestial, grand. You spirits sure do come in all shapes and sizes. What a fascinating meeting we have here. Now Snailman looks around, leaning on his staff. Mine seemed to have slipped a bit. You couldn't care for some exposition? It's the last thing you remember. His eyes retract close to the base as he mutters. Oh no. I was on trial. For what? I doomed us all to the flames of Esuth. It was entirely my fault. What did you do? I made a deal with the Red One, mutters to himself, trying to remember. It's difficult to read his body language, for obvious reasons. However, you get the feeling as he recalls more, he grows more shaken. Esuth, the great dragon of Tulam, our band. I was the diplomat who enacted the plan of peace. We invited the dragon for an exchange of knowledge. Truth is, I was greedy. I wanted those strange draconic techniques. The power words. Dragons use magic through speech alone. Yep, dragon shouts. The spells you cast are derived from those same methods. I was not alone in my hubris, nor did I set this plan in motion myself, but it was me who put it in motion. What happened? Please stop. Sorry. Snailman looks pointedly around the room. Or at least you think he does. It's more of a gurgling sound. I am personally responsible for the deaths of approximately 50,000 to 100,000 of my kin. Stare at him. Destruction of Tulinkatl. Yes, that is what it was. Esuth went back on his word. He used his unorthodox magic to disrupt our many mages. Then he burned the entire city. The towers fell, the screams, the heat. So like, the thing that ruined all the... Basis of Norvik, yes. Goblin also stares at the snailman. How did you survive? Oh, the same way the rest did. We were, as they say, lucky. We were not close enough to his anti-magic, and I could resist his stunning shriek. We fled downwards, as Esuth claimed our city as his new throne. We fled even deeper. A few thousand of us, the ones who remain, we hid in... He taps his staff on the tiles. This place is where we kept our foulest prisoners. Became a base in which we organized resistance. Although some were not so keen to work with someone like me, a traitor. How long were you down here? Months. Did not take long for a divide to build. What did you do here? Debate, mostly. One camp were for leaving entirely, another wanted to turn to Jor for guidance. I ended up wanting to leave with my wonderful Tut. Tut? Tut? Shakes his head. Sorry. No. The voice who won in the end, they sought a more permanent solution to the dragon fire. Through primal pagan magic. I did not believe in that for a second. I mean, I'm down for the primal. They imprisoned you for inviting the dragon? That, among other things. I was never the most liked snail on the coast, but they wanted an offering, someone to blame. He grows silent, his eyes shiver. Snail begins to think about things he does not want to think about. A spore snail. He knows what he must face now. Failure. I believe you've been imprisoned here for a very, very long time. How long? His eyes retract as if he does not want the answer. When were you imprisoned? I'm assuming an era of dragons occurred after our reign. However, we ruled in the aftermath of the shutting of the gates. Been 211 years since then, the year where our city burned. During the Fade era, then, not long after the gates had shut. That was exactly 1,016 years ago. He grips his staff. You can hear it creak. Millennia? I was in stasis for millennia? I'm sorry. Yes. Yes, it is. Good gods. His eyes shoot out, aiming around the room. He is alone. His entire folk type has been wiped from the map before humans even held their own kingdoms. I am... alone. There's no one? Is there? Shakes his staff and his stalk eyes wiggle around the air. A faint glow appears as he mutters a few words to himself. I see snails. Yes, but... Scrying. He is seeing hail snails currently. Are you scrying? No. Is this what you made of yourselves? He stops casting the spell, his head falling towards the ground. Grandma, you fool. You led them into this primal state? Degenerative, frozen, monstrous beasts? Hail snails. Oh. Lets out a mad laugh. They wanted to use primal cold to break the dragon's fire. That bastard. He led them into pure de-evolution. It is a nightmare. Oh, by Jor's grace. Tell me, how did you break this stasis I was in? Your angel companion steps in. Her last thought was of you, Isk-Urum. Oh, the one that was imprisoned over there. This is the husband that I've been searching for. That, okay. I just had to come here at a certain time, I guess. Yeah, because I had been questioning. I was like, where were you? Yeah, that's what this, yep. I think it. You, cleric. Imagine it in your head, now please. Think about your talk at the Iron Door. Tut Irma. She was in an iron door? They threw her in an iron door for millennia? His eyes droop down, towards the ground. I cannot believe it. My actions caused... I ruined my people. I brought flames. I divided them. Yet in the end, I did not even pay for my crimes with my life. Instead, I paid by standing here alone amongst the ashes. Ayaskani. And Tut, she endured the most torturous existence known to sentience. Her soul slowly withering inside of that hellish prison, yet after all that, in the end, she... Like Atir said, her last thoughts were only of you. He lets out a grunt, then a painful howl. Then he roars, a deep, bubbling scream, causing his glistening flesh to vibrate. Stare at the snail. When he stops, he takes his staff and slams it into the ground. I reject this string! George's words do not speak of a humble nature. He broke off this world to make his own path. I will do exactly the same. What are you talking about? He lets out a gust of wind. I can fix this. What? Yeah, what? Fix what? My dear Tut was destroyed by an iron prison. That leaves her soul in pieces. Not quite dead, not quite in existence. But I am Cord Puller Isk-Urum. I wield strings like Yor himself. From this day on, I no longer seek power nor achieve greatness, nor will I build empires. I will only perform one miracle. I will resurrect her. Then I will pay her back 1,000-fold for her unyielding love and devotion. Yes. Celestial clenches her fist. Pay your debt, Tulin. To her. With everything I have. What kind of resurrection? True resurrection. Not easy, especially when the strings are this weak. An ebb, surely. What? Can you tell me more about... Yes, anything you need. I'm in your debt as well, of course. He mutters to himself and leans on his staff. I now have a time limit, cleric. In 200 years, the fragments of my wife's soul will leave this place forever. Thus, I can no longer resurrect her. And it will take time, but it can be done. Anything can be done. He is coping, but not in a terribly destructive way. It is possible, improbable, but possible, even for a snail. Fuck yes! You need anything, just let me know. Thank you, my green friend. It's very romantic, Isk-Urum. I wish you luck on your venture. Thank you, Celestial. It's funny. Last time I saw one of your kind, it was on a battlefield. I prefer this. As do I. Do you know how to enter the pillar? Oh. You wish to enter a closed gate. That is bold. I probably should not mention the rogue spellcaster, but yeah, I should need to mention a rogue spellcaster, a suspected one. Snail stares at you. I heard nothing. But if you need to enter a closed gate, that is no small feat, of course. But it's possible? This is an interesting conversation because, yeah, like, he can read my thoughts, so... Very much so. What lies beyond is not so much a mystery, as it is a question of tunnels, paths, cracks in the veil around Jor's realm. To enter it is simple as either having a key, a blessed passing, or forcing your way with a powerful spell. Gate, astral projection, wish. They can all break through. Of course, with the current state of things here in your time, it is clear all such methods would be difficult. Very difficult. You require assistance from creatures who have studied or understand its current shape. Have any in mind? He lowers his head. Tut was a genius on planar travel. She could have helped you. You made him sad again. That's sad. Sorry, Tut was your dead wife? No, sorry. Glares at you with one eye, then the other falls upon his staff. You have made a great friend in me, cleric. That will be rewarded. Staff of strings. The staff? You hold it out, feeling the power surge through the rough wood. I call it Merivesh, Staff of Strings. You may call it Staff of Tulankatl, as remembrance of my fallen people. It will be returned to me once you are finished with all this. The crystal at the top lights up as he speaks. It is now attuned to you. If you wield it while dealing with this gate, it will grant you assistance, information, attunement, so on. My dear wife's research can be found within its core. It will help you, I'm sure. Thank you, and Tut. As for who you should speak with, I have no idea. Unless you want to write a contract with some powerful devil or serve a far realm monster, you might not have too many good options. The only creature I knew beyond my people who'd understand the mechanisms of the gate was the Gate Guardian herself. But she was ancient by the time I reached adulthood, so I would not count on her being around. Gate Guardian? You talking about the Sphinx? Excuse me? Ulzis, the Sphinx. She's still around. Yeah, so you know her? Snail leans back, still reeling over this information. Can you help me with the riddle? You keep shocking the poor man. I'll have to visit, so she is still in the lair? It's a tavern now, called the Drunk Sphinx. This is a strange era you've built yourselves. Can't say I dislike it. In that case, I highly recommend you go speak with Ulzis. Unless you've made a fool of yourself before, she might be inclined to help you getting into the gate crack. I would never do something like that. Flashback to when you spoke with Ulzis last. Oh, Jor. I'm sure with Marivesha will be fine. If not, then maybe there's some other dark and oppressive magical creature you can persuade. Like that aberration called Everglad that lives in these tunnels? Huh. He looks around. Should probably leave here soon if things like that have taken hold. Okay. You have any questions, about all the stuff you've missed? A couple of thousand of them, yes. I will also, of course, dive into whatever libraries you have available for information soon enough. You do still have libraries, I hope. We have the Darrowian library just south of here. I can get you access if I put in an application. Oh, grand. Please do. Is that your local government, Darrow? The laugh? No. I see. Also, I need to ask, what is this south? South? Yes. South is south. Ah. This must be some common knowledge. Please elaborate. It's a direction, downwards on the map. Interesting. Do you not use inwards and outwards, with and against? The scholarly version is seaward and inland. Which one's forward in your case? With is when you move along the coast with the movement of the sun. Against is against the sun's movement. Ah, we use west for with then and east for against. I see. Do you know the etymological origin of these words? I find your use of them quite fascinating. Especially the fact my tongue spell does not localize them. This is a super interesting conversation. It's meeting someone that lived in an entirely different time that's just very interested in what we have going on here. Of course you do. Cardinal directions are based on some early human tongue. Way before we arrived in this world, we simply applied our old world's term on Jor's realm. Realistically, they all have something to do with the sun, just like yours do. Interesting. That you base your directions on a map is very different from our way of navigation. Later, I will very much love to pore over your findings and documents, especially with those maps. I've seen books all over the place. You could always go around and check them out. Interesting. So your people are very open-minded? Sometimes. Pale Man looks like an interesting spellcaster. We will see how they react. Yeah, so you're just talking about that. Is your people anti-snail? I suppose they haven't been given the chance to be anti-snail. I suppose. Think about what Norvik looks like these days. Honestly, people will probably gawk at you. I suppose. Think about what Norvik looks like these days. He nods and his eyes jut out. Interesting. I'm looking forward to navigating your society. So what do you want to ask? That's not a bubbling noise. Timeline. I can see images of your current world in your mind, your city, called Norvik. You live upon the ruins of my people's creations. Very interesting. But I am interested in how you got there. You appear to be human, yes? Remember the dragons of the east bringing your people to the coast as servants. Slaves, rather. When did you break your chains? It was during the Fade era. Humans broke free alongside many others as the big ones fell. Dugdul and Dim led the charge against the dragons. It was... I see. I'm both relieved and extremely happy to hear of their demise. You're welcome. But I must ask, whatever happened to Esuf? His downfall must have been at the hands of some great warrior. Oh, I know that one. It's a children's story. Oh? The little and the large. Think about the tale. Unknown befriended the Mist Titan of Ascani, and together they defeated the giant red dragon. Yeah, I remember this. Abacus the Half-Wit and Ka Ymor, the greatest of friends. You're kidding. By Jor, that is very good. Very, very good. An ironic end for such a horrid beast. Defeated by friendship, he lets out a blubbing laugh. May his bones be cursed forever. Many gods were born in the next era, the Divine Era. Hold on, let's see. Snail retracts his eyes and goes quiet for a while as he listens. Do go on. The Divine Era then lasted a bit less than 400 years. Ah, you're at the start of a new era. What do you call it? The post-war era. Oh, the Arcane Era brought with it a foul war then. Could only imagine. Myself, I too, was born in a time after war, the Gate War. My father saw the end of it in his youth. I will make sure to read about it more, but what caused this great war? Numinist, a cabal of hedonistic far realm worshippers, pitted the great Arcanist against each other. An imp, he assassinated an elvish priestess and set the whole thing into motion. Humans, we became great wizards, Arcanists, and destroyed each other, as well as almost the entire coast. Yes, I can see that. I can similarly not in any way tell you the real reason behind the Gate War. Since it's closer in the timeline, if I may ask, how did your coast war end? The Arcanists destroyed each other and ruined large portions of their band. The Arcanists were simply too powerful, the game was rigged against them, and thus they lost. Magic stopped being as potent. They tried to keep it a secret, but eventually they simply could not support their empires. Eventually felled the Arcanists. Today they are the most powerful force on the coast. Magic stopped being as potent. Fascinating. It's understandable there's no clear answer to such a complex conflict, yeah. As per usual, the victor will write the notes on history, however. So I will be sure to read with critical stock. Yeah, you have to. And your people, then, they fled the Arcanists during the war? I seem to get the impression from the images I keep seeing. I hope you can't see me without the helm. I don't imagine me naked. Nothing too personal so far, thank Jor. Some esoterically attuned people cannot help themselves. It's honestly quite dangerous at times. My old rival used to run into my laboratory and think very loud and grimy things. The most heinous scenarios you could imagine. Ugh. What an ass. You're quite the frayed fellow, aren't you? Honestly quite dangerous. My old rival used to run into my laboratory and think very loud. Would be too personal, like me naked or let your mind drift? That would be me. This would be me. My mind would drift. His eye stalks glare at you in silence. Case in point. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's the ADHD. Did they have Vyvance as a spell? So you're a wizard? Yes, I'm a learned Tulin of the Path of Jor. String master, string player, chord puller extraordinaire. Might have missed a few eras, but I assure you, we had reality warping powers in our times. By Jor, I sure sound like an old timer. I heard that. Sorry. No worries, it's true. What spell levels can you cast? 9th. By regular limits, I had the ability to will a 10th level spell at one point, although it was of course a weak 10th level spell. I called it Isk-Urum's Epic Traversal. Basically targeted a road up to 100 miles of it, repairing any cracks, making the journey smooth and wonderful, and generally increasing your movement speed by up to double. Amazing. Useful. Not more than that. Reminds me of like a lot of the very mundane spells that are in like Frieren. Not exactly epic. Useful, yes. As you can imagine, we kept to the more grounded magics for anything above 9th. The actual world-changing spells would simply get you popped out of existence. Popped out of existence? Yes, I named it Esoteric Events. They apparently began during the Gate War, but grew worse during my lifetime. Irresponsible usage of magic could easily cause them to appear. Some called it wild magic, some called it Jor's Curse. Your name stuck. We still call it that. Oh, do you now? Suppose the tongue spell translated it properly then. What 9th level spell can you cast? Nothing currently. When I was cast into stasis, Gurema made sure to place an ebbing seal on me. That has a curse, essentially. Makes me unable to cast anything above, in this case, 3rd level spells. So currently I'm not so powerful at all. But do not fret, it will fade in time. Hopefully as the ley lines grow stronger all around, this ebb. Are all folks Snailfolk wizards? Oh no, but many, yes. The Tulin are naturally acclimated to string manipulation. It's from a gift we were granted by Jor, as we arrived on the Great Whale's back. The mythical first creature Jor invited to join him on his newly created realm. That's all I have to ask about wizards. I'm not a wizard. Do you teach me magic? Oh, teaching, that is not my specialty. If you have any questions, I can always share my knowledge, but beyond that, I'm afraid I can only offer some spell scrolls. What does Ebb mean? His eyes dart around. You want a definition? I spoke with a demi-lich who spoke of an esoteric ebb. A demi-lich? Dangerous friends to have, cleric. Unless the world has changed by more than I imagined since I left. His eyes jitter a bit. Ebb is defined as an effect of anti-magic. Oh. It is when the flow of magic is ebbed, lowered, ceased. It is a word I do not like for many reasons. For one, it was a tool used by our enemies in the Gate War. To sink Jor's realm, they wished to quell his strings. Then of course it was the dragon Esuth. His betrayal began by the casting of a horrid and terribly effective spell. Power word Ebb. Draconic power words? Power word Ebb puts a clamps on Jor's strings. A large area. I believe up to 1,000 feet. Becomes void of high-tier magics and low-tier magic becomes unstable. It is no simple anti-magic field. It is not an area of suppression of magic. It is a literal editing of the strings themselves. It cuts off flow to the strings, flow from the past and future, a ripple of non-magic through time. I will be honest, I have no clue what the exact parameters of casting such a spell would be, nor what the long-term effects are. But it does sound to me like your era has been affected by some terrible ebbings. For your strings seem to me as if they were indeed clamped and clutched, as if struggling to breathe. Seeing someone who's cast a bunch of ebb spells? Do you think an ebb caused the weakening of the Arcanist? Do you know anything else about these ebbs, past and future, the strings stretching through time? So you're saying someone has cast a bunch of ebb spells? There's a lot of questions. I'll say possibly, probably, not really, and yes, through time. This is of course only a theory of mine when it comes to esoteric effects, pockets, events, and so on, but what makes an esoteric ebb so powerful is the sheer time frame of it. The consequences can be unfelt for centuries. That is what makes Jor's esoteric magic so powerful and so dangerous. It's hiding like a virus. No sane being can calculate beyond the third dimension. Not at least beyond some abstract and practical sense. We are not made for it. That doesn't stop me from researching it, or at least until Esuth did. Now he is getting sad again. What do you know about Jor's strings? He holds out a hand and casts Prestidigitation. When Jor crafted the coast, he did not make it from scratch. Dazzling lights spawn out of his palm, forming a collection of gleaming lights. Stars. He based his design on others, the landscape, the water, the wind, the biome, as well as the magic. In most other realms, from what our history teaches us, the ley lines, as in the thing we channel the magic from, is usually formed as a web. A network, a weaving, a series of nodes connected. The design was fundamental and solid, connected so many material realms to the outer ones, as in they were not just one. The solid world of mortals on one side, the worlds with all the angels and demons and non-mortals on the other, a magic web interconnecting them. Most Anticipalians will tell you the same thing. The world of mortals and non-mortals were separated beyond Jor's realm. Right, before the gates closed we were separated. He nods. Jor did something different. He created the strings. Instead of having a series of nodes with connections between them, his ley lines were simply just nodes. They contained a sort of esoteric vector, intensity, delta, rush, tone. Some call it colors, various difficult to parse parameters. Instead of being interconnected, they simply bump into one another, physically. That's how they interact, to put into a simple metaphor. However, Jor did something ingenious here. He took the designs of those interconnected webs and repurposed them. Not to connect to one another, but to connect with themselves. Over time itself. Connected from the past, to the present, to the future, a straight line, a chord, a string. Remember, he is reading your mind. Every option you think of will be presented to him all at once. Is there magic capable of flowing backwards? You think the Arcanist grew so powerful due to figuring out Jor's secrets? Why did Jor make the strings in such a way? What difference does it make? Is there magic capable of flowing backwards? Okay, that's a lot to take in all at once. Mind reading makes conversation highly efficient. I'll take your questions one by one if that's okay. Starting off, compared to the original web design, which I sadly have not been able to investigate myself, I'm basing all my findings off data retrieved from my forebears. There seems to be almost no real difference. It is neat that, yeah, you're just taking all the conversations at once. Like I said, this is a neat conversation. On the surface level, channeling magic from a practical art works fundamentally the same, drawing powers from the network, using verbal, somatic, and components to steer this power in a certain direction. However, this change, making the network into strings, changes how that magic flows. Instead of being focused on that one point in time, is constantly connected to the past and present. Part of that power is leaked in each direction. Now, this does happen in some degree in a normal web-based node system as well. That's how divination magic works, but instead of it happening in a natural way, just like we remember where we were a second ago, so does magic. Just like we can extrapolate on current information in order to reach conclusions about the future, so does magic. Interesting. The strings instead are directly connected. It'd be as if we constantly saw ourselves in the past alongside our present with glimpses of the future. Like a constant, permanent form of divination magic, it's quite difficult to imagine. So you mentioned earlier, you were saying, I was like, somebody's casting a ton of ebb spells. And you said they're possibly doing it through time. So I think what they're insinuating is, yes, somebody is casting Ebb spells, but they're not technically casting the Ebb spells in the present. The person that's currently affecting the Ebb right now could very well be one of the high-level mages from, like, you know, Gate era, Fade era, all of those various things. They're casting it in the past, but it's affecting the future, and they can see that. To answer your second question, I do not know why Jor made the strings this way. They are theories. He could have done it to perform some type of chronomancy. Perhaps it was simply an experiment. My personal belief is simply that Jor found it efficient. By leaking esoteric energies to the past and future, it would make sense that we were able to build a much more potent acceleration in our spells. How this works in practice, none can tell. Not since the gates closed. As to your third question, yes. It sounds as if your Arcanist did uncover many of the same mysteries we worked on. However, it does sound as if Jor abandoned them in a way not too dissimilar to our own. Finally, your fourth. Chronomancy is a topic many wizards dream of as they study. I must disappoint you, there are no ways beyond divination, those little peeks behind the curtain, to tamper with time. As the strings move forward, Jor watches us go along them. That is one of the messages we received from him all those years ago. He is watching. This is our one chance to make our choices, so make them well. You are beyond. The rules do not apply. Ah, I'm outside of the scope. I'm like Guts. Interesting. Well, if you find yourself beyond, do let me know. I'd love to investigate. How do I learn high-tier magic? Time and effort, cleric. I remember when we caught a bunch of students about... caught a batch of students about to rush out into the wild to burn some fey creatures with fireballs. They said they needed the experience. The wisdom of Jor teaches us otherwise. Repeated exercise does build muscle memory, yes. However, true experience is bought from novelty. Be interesting. Your future in high-tier magic will be born from that. Interesting. Thank you. That was very informative. No problem. I'm no lecturer, so apologies if I'm ranting too much. Keep mentioning Jor. What do you know about the guy? About Jor? Well, it's about everything and nothing. An enigma of a wizard Jor is. But I'd like to ask you, what do you know about Jor? Old wizard, made the coast, brought beasts of Jor, mythical figure, died in the Gate War. The one who created this place and invited people. Snailman listens to your thoughts. Then he asks, beasts of Jor. Is that what you call us? The only followers of Jor who survived this day are usually quite feared. We also have Anticipalian, that's a better word for it, yeah. I see. The recent Arcanist trouble humans caused must have not helped the issues of Jor. That is true. The term Anticipalian appears good. It is draconic, yes. Before the closing, very good. His eyes close up tightly. In the old world, Tim and Coddle, we worshipped oppressive gods, oppressive in the sense of absolute power. My forebears left willingly at the invitation of Jor, to never again serve, so it's important to remember our love for Jor was not subjugation, it was a partnership, in the pure sense of the word. So to be clear, I am not a numinist, I have no religion, I do not worship Jor. My people were raised into self-idealization by Jor, given power, esoterical forces, which feels like what Jor would want. Jor would not want to be worshipped, Jor would want people to come to their own conclusions and learn. When he fell after the Gate War and no longer was as directly involved, well, we all held some hope he was alive, just hiding, or having gone into some other state of being shut out the gods, to shut out the gods. Logically speaking, he has to be alive. That is my input on the discussion. Why? Because his realm still stands. I do not believe in a natural existence for his coast. I believe, although my evidence for this is faltering, the realm would collapse if Jor truly died. This place is held up by him, thus his existence is proof of his well-being. Not to mention the handful of messages we received, at least hint at something still existing out there. Unless you believe those messages were false, which they could be, I do not believe so. What do you know about Umestra? Umestra, where did you hear that name? His eyes stretch out towards you. You startled him by mentioning that name. A talking wall? Chansey? That was the name of it, yes. Recall your conversation with the literal wall. Yep, the wall that was down there. Enhanced ability expires. That's the name of a founding shell, one of the first Snells to be invited by Jor. One who created the foundations of Tulinkadal, Chansey the Seer. Huh. But it was in a wall? Yes. Could be an apparition, an animating spirit in the shape of Chansey's mind, or the very structure of the city you've built your home on is filled with the spirits of my ancestors. How peculiar. His eyes slowly retract. Suppose I should tell you a story about Jor, then. Just listen. He slides around the floor as he speaks. What we know of Jor, some is derived from early witnesses. Most, however, is recalled directly from his secret original apprentices. Jor's apprentices hid in the shadows as to not become targets during the invasions. So I imagine it comes as quite a shock to you that... Oh. No, we know about this. What? They're not secret. Not anymore. Huh? But there are 8 of them. Did you know that? Yes, it's common knowledge. 1 for each band. Right. Why did you ask then? Ymestra, she's one of the apprentices. Interesting. No, we don't know their names, or at least I don't. Just that there are 8 of them. Oh! In that case, let me tell you. Mestra was the apprentice of Goodland. She was the first cord puller of Tulinkatl, speaker of Jor. Goodland? Goodland, all right. The translation must be confusing. It's the native term we use for this here slicer band, that is what you call it. You call it a Skani. You knew this apprentice? She was my friend. Eom would travel from tower to tower whenever she visited the city. She was old, frail by the time I was born, yet she traveled like no other. I was taught prestidigitation by her own personalized version. No doubt you would ask me to teach you, but that would be impossible. Only she could be a good enough teacher to spread such a complicated cantrip. Fascinating. Prestidigitation taught directly from Jor himself. One day you will master it. Surely you must. He lets out a pained groan. Her disappearance was the first great omen of our people. My wife Tut was even closer to her. We missed her dearly. What was she like? Kind, he nods. He used to call her the neutral apprentice. I tend to agree. So he spoke with someone who spoke directly with Jor? Yes, many times. She could never tell us much about her master, of course. However, it was clear he too was an interesting figure. Personality, if you will, just like all the tales painted. You speak with any other apprentices? I'm afraid not. Perhaps lucky. Not all of them are so friendly to the local populace. But most of them were simply destroyed during the Gate War. Why would he send an apprentice? Why not talk to you himself? That's a good question. We never had an answer. Why did she disappear? That is a very good question. One day she was there, the other she was not. I was the last of our kind to meet with her. I found her acting peculiar, stressed. She asked me, Isk, how much would you wager on the shell flip, and waited for my answer. Told her I'd wager nothing important on such bad odds. A shell flip? It's when you toss a flat shell into the air to see which side it lands on. A 50-50 fair game. Shakes his head. Ymestra, she accepted my answer and then left. Still not sure how to interpret such a strange question. But that was it. She was gone. The Gator of Askan, our connection to Jor, gone. Soon after, just a few years, Esuth burned it all down. Interesting. Fascinating. Snowman lets out a blubbering sigh. So I've been given a second chance. Perhaps we will find out one day. What will you do now? We'll build a base, a laboratory somewhere in this city of yours, built upon our ruins. Tips on who I should talk to? Local goblin chieftain, she could hook you up if you do something in exchange, I'm sure. Damn right. Oh, yes, I see. I feel like you'd get along better with them. Yes, that will help a lot. Thank you, cleric. Once I've established a foothold in this new era, I will return to my research, figure out how the strings have changed over the millennia, relearn my mastery of chords, collect the resources needed. Then, of course, he looks upwards. I will bind her fragments to this material world. I will return her to flesh, bring life into her once again. My dear sweet Tuturma will be given her life once more. Then if she will have me, I will build a life for us here, a life of peace. True, fair peace. Wish me luck. Good luck. What are you voting? The what? Have our first election soon. You should vote. Voting? Hold on, do you select your leaders through election? We're starting to do it now, yeah. Fascinating. Is this an elective system for landowners, or mages, or everyone gets to vote? Pretty much, at least. You just need to live here. Huh. You've shocked him. Not expect something like that. Such a liberal paradise. Well, I am not one to judge these futuristic ideas. I must investigate. Tell me more. What do you vote for? Kings? Governments? Parties, with different ideologies on how to run the city of Norvik. Parties? How glib. There's the Asgulls are the future of the city. They are the party of egalitarianism, workers' rights, and unity. Party of magic. Agrarian party won't win, but they are my choice. Personally, I don't vote for any party. The Asgulls. That is amazing. Dedicate your life to the advancement of Asgulist ideology. He lets out a blubbering noise. Laughter. Listening to all that, I would say I would actually vote for the Arcanists. Seems like they would be the most esoterically attuned party, which fits my ideals. Yeah, I mean, esoterically attuned doesn't technically mean best for everyone. However, in my experience, a group of wizards working together tends to end up being quite the mess, but my heart still leans in that direction. Yeah, that makes sense. I have to go see for myself once it is time for that election. He lets out blubbering noises. There's a fair reason to laugh at it. It will most likely be a messy process. At the very least, the snail has good taste. I mean, being from the past where none of this existed and you're getting such a different view of the world, I can understand all of this would seem very weird and funny to you. You are missing so much context, including a lot of the people not wanting to vote for Arcanists because they were actively subjugated by them and things. His eyes behold you knowingly. Do you have any spell scrolls? Only a dozen or so. They're deep in my shell. Any you're interested in? I can dig in and get one. He retracts one of his arms. Ew. Tech secrets, good protection of evil and good. Scroll of astral projection. You have particular taste. There's not a spell you're even able to cast, not without great unreliability. So is that a no? Of course not. Enjoy. Hands you a tingling paper with a casual nod and the intense power rushing through your arm as you grab it. We'll tear a hole into you. Grasp it with your life. Considering the state of this world, it would not have the intended effect even if you did know how to cast it, so it's useless to me anyhow. I suggest studying it. Detect secrets? Of course. That one is very useful. What about protection from good, evil and good? That's a classic. It is indeed. Sadly, I do not have many divine spell scrolls, so that is a no. Anything else? Someone stares at you. Oh, you seem to have thought of all I am able to hand you, except... You can do on here, don't leave me hanging. I'm acting really greedy, aren't I? Maybe I shouldn't. Shrugs while slowly retracting his entire head slowly. Just watch. Then the snail is no more and you were standing in front of a shell. That's convenient. Then as slowly as he retracted, he begins to leave the shell. Whenever the esoteric attunements from your mind, cleric. Here's the only spell scroll you do not actively think about here, that you also do not already have memorized, would be this. Scroll of Wish. My joy and his disciples, what are you holding in your hands? Wish? Sorry, what? Isk-Urum. That is a very dangerous item. That's not like the wish, is it? That is Wish. However, you cannot memorize it at your current level of attunement. Tempting to cast it directly would also take, maybe even at your level of talent, weeks, maybe months. And even if I did cast it, Wish is one of the few non-epic tier spells that can wildly shape reality. It is arguably the most powerful and versatile of all 9th level spells. So powerful, in fact, that it can easily cripple anyone who does manage to cast it. The only truly safe usage of Wish is to use its power to ask for the casting of another spell, 8th level or lower. It can also ask for a weaker effect, which has been proven to be safe at times, but if you word your wish poorly and the effect is broader than you intended, then you are, as they say, screwed. That sounds horrifying. Lets out a blubbering sigh. I received that spell scroll from a djinn I fought alongside during the war. It was a reminder to stay humble. For those who use it for personal gain, use it as a shortcut to greatness, always end up in ashes. Did not always listen to such ideals, but when it comes to that spell, I have respect for it. One of my teachers, the great Redios, used its power to shatter the hearts and souls of 100 ice devils. In the process, her entire being turned into a permanent esoteric pocket. Given a spell scroll not to use, cleric, but as a reminder of your mortality. I thank you for this. He makes a peculiar mouth movement, a grin. Like your fire, it burns bright. Anything else? I'm good. That's all I have to ask. See you around. New spells, quite a few. Bless, Charm Person, Cure Wounds, Detect Secrets. Hidden cache or secret door that you're not aware of within range, you can create a translucent trail guiding you to its location. That does seem like it could be good. Inflict Wounds, Shield of Faith, Augury, Bark Skin, Enhanced Ability, Knock. Yeah. So we got a few new things. A handful. Not anything that I think lines up with what I need for that one task. Ancient Spell Scroll of Astral Projection. Just holding it makes you feel like you have the power to rip a hole in reality. You obviously can't use it, not without ripping another hole in yourself. Spell scroll from a different time. You cannot read the contents like at all. The snail glyphs running along the edges causes your entire body to tingle as you touch them. Power of a wish spell. A power so strong even the paper itself becomes esoteric. God, it is getting very late. We really, really need to get home. Like, super bad. Okay. I guess that's it. I thought I was going to struggle finding something to do in this episode, but apparently not. Apparently, I just stumbled right into that, and then that took like a crazy amount of time. I do want to do one more thing before we end. I want to go check what's in that pot in Viskin's study that I needed 18 constitution for. Because that still bothers me a little bit. What is this like little red thing floating above my head? Oh, it's the little thing I have equipped. The constitution boosting thing. Interesting. Alright. Well, I have the thing I need with Viskin now. If we decided to use that. I'm gonna boost up my constitution. Actually, I can just do it now. Looking inside, you find this pot to be empty. Most contain strange herbs or ashes. This one does not. Cozy spot. Pot was recently emptied. You can still see the remnants of dust. Oh, it's not here anymore. It calls to you. Home. Pick up the pot. Your hands grasp it. Soon you will be home. You're not serious. Oh god, you're serious. No, you can't. It's a damn pot. Eh? A slight improvement? Still horrendous, though. I can wear it on my head. I sure can. A pot. The pot is on. Plus 3 constitution if I wear it. Okay, so that's what that ended up being. There's also this. The river calls to you. Plus 9 hit points. Sick. Alright. I guess we are done for now. Next time I will have to run and go take my nap, but I don't want to do that right now, so we gotta end. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time for some more.